Okay, this is cool. So one of the issues I ran into yesterday was that ChatGPT was just taking too long to return information without any sort of user interaction with speaking. So you'd ask it for like a coding question, and then it would sit there and do nothing. So what I did was I did something that Amazon does. When you ask a question from Alexa, they'll send back like a progressive response, they call it, where like the it gives you sort of like a okay, just a moment while it's working in the background, and you have to do that asynchronously. So what I did was up here, I have my get response from my backend node server, which is just contacting OpenAI and accessing GPT-4 with the speech request that the data for the data or whatever. So when you submit, you actually this is one asynchronous function here, and then on top of that, I just have my my speech synthesis object, and it just says, "Okay, one moment, please." And over here, because we're using promise all, it sends them both out at the same time. So the speech is speaking and rendering like the box on the web page, while in the background it's also sending out the request to OpenAI for the actual data. And then when the data comes back, you can see that we have in this promise we have our results, and because we put in our array our first get response, which is the request to OpenAI, that was back up here, right? Get response, and that is obviously the first element in the array. Remember that arrays are zero index, so it's just results from the first zero index of the array, and that is our data. And now we should be able to get all of this back, and we can watch sort of the asynchronous stuff happening in the browser as well. So for instance, if we want to say, how do you create a for each loop in JavaScript? And now I could have spoken that as well, but we'll just type it in. And
okay. One moment, please.
So that gives you a second to realize that the command was sent. The user box is created, and then
in JavaScript, creating a for each loop is pretty straightforward. Here's an example. In this example, the for each method iterates over each element in the array and executes the provided function once for each element. The function in this example simply logs each element to the console. Alternatively, you can also use an arrow function like this.
I'm just going to stop that because I don't need to know how to actually make a for each loop, because if that is something I'm just learning now, I wouldn't have been able to write this program. But anyway, it definitely seems faster, even though the request is still taking the same amount of time. It's just that the program speaks to you and kind of gives you like this progressive response, just like Alexa does. And that makes this program better.